Hey, Celeste. We really appreciate you being such a fan of the show and retweeting us, even though we're not that funny. We know you're going through some rough times right now, and we're all pulling for you. We're all thinking about you, and those of us that believe in Space Jesus are praying for you as well. No, I don't think that's doing anybody any good, but we wish you the best, kid. We're thinking about you.
And Jesse likes your pizza.
I didn't say shit this time.
Fucking jackass.
Listen up, please!
I'm glad you're here.
Mind orgasms and fantasies.
By the way, I want to say something that I absolutely love.
The back of my head may or may not look like a pug.
Somebody's misguided. The younger generation.
If you can wipe your own ass, then the other guy gets shot.
And I don't know that you notice it, but I do.
We found out who we truly are, which is a bunch of assholes.
Most of the time it's because I'm turned away from you.
Why did you buy the vibrating strap-on pillow?
But there's something that I absolutely love.
Oh, I couldn't be happier.
Now, there was a time when we had to hide and we had to be quiet.
Right now, he's wearing a tinfoil hat.
Have you ever heard the term misguided? I've been misguided.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Welcome to episode number 44 of the Misguided Musings podcast.
We're a trio tonight.
Well, for a little bit, we're a trio. I am your host, Jordan. I am currently joined by Jesse and Matt. Sarge and Maynard are blowing each other. They're stuck in a situation, which we will get to in a few minutes.
In the dungeon.
It's like a Chinese finger trap in the mouth.
Okay, so we're gonna start out the episode.
It has to do with a bathtub, and there's no water in that bathtub.
Just lots and lots of
be
spit.
wet.
Okay, so we're gonna start out the episode tonight with a little bit of fun current events, because there's a couple things that I really want to touch on.
There's a lot going on in the world.
Yeah, but this is going to be fun and stupid that you can
I know,
use.
guys.
The stuff that you
Injustice
can use
2
at work.
just came out.
Because you know
Great
what?
game.
The world is fun and stupid.
Yeah, pretty much. So let's start out like this. Welcome to episode 44 of the Misguided Musings podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Musing Podcast. I am at Muse Knuckle. Sarge is at Bastard Prophet. Matt is at Eclectic Taste. Jesse is at the Jesse Miles, and Maynard is at Maynard with a Y. And then you can follow us on Facebook, or you can go to our website at www.misguidedmusings.com, where you can read excerpts from my erotic fan fiction. Right now there's 2 up there. There's Cum Trails with a little bit of audio. And then you will also be able to read Area 69 this week, and you will have some special audio from Area 69. So, with that being said, have any of you guys ever thought that if you won the lottery, you would just take a giant dump on your boss's desk?
Not specifically.
Depends what boss.
I mean, if you ever won the lottery.
How much are
Have
we
you-
talking here?
Whatever, it doesn't matter. Enough for you to quit work.
Okay, enough for, you don't have to have a job for, the rest of your life.
It doesn't even matter. Enough for you just to quit your current job and figure the rest out from there.
Okay.
Have you ever thought you'd want to take a shit on your boss's desk?
Like,
just, fuck you, you're an asshole, I quit, shit on the desk.
I've always wanted to put an ape costume on and just start jumping up like an ape and just start breaking stuff
So Matt
while
would
they
throw
were
feces.
on a
That
business
is
call.
what it really is Matt would throw feces.
Matt wants to throw.
Jesse, shitting on your boss's desk.
I've
You
never
got 8.
specifically imagined of shitting on my boss's
But
desk.
would you,
It's been-
so you win the lottery, would you consider it?
Would you eat Indian food before?
I consider it.
So,
I've had some ex-coworkers I would shit in like their lunch bag.
see, okay, and that's where
What
that's where I would draw
product
the line.
of food would you have an hour
My-
before? Dunkin' Donuts?
My
or...
tacos, Taco
Bell?
Hell.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah,
Put
right,
a couple of gorditas on that.
right. The
and
Crunch
it'll
Wrap
just be
Supreme, baby. So,
How about fast food Indian?
oh my
Turns
god,
your asshole into a power washer.
You're painting that desk. So I have coworkers that I would have done that too. My bosses, I love them. I can't actually say that I've ever hated. Well, that's not true, but I can't say I've ever hated one of my longtime managers.
Long-time manager. Not just a manager that fired you for saying that's what she said.
not going to get into that.
Okay.
Dickhead. So
The only thing you can get fired for is if what she said was "please stop."
boy, this turned dark.
That's a fireable offense.
So,
unless you're Roger Ailes, then it's a
41
mold for a company.
Oh, Jesus. Wow, really? Wait, you're going to go down that route? You want to go down that route?
I mean, he went down many routes that people asked him not to.
So did Bill Cosby, but, look where we are.
I mean, yeah, I hate him too. We can make fun of all of them.
41-year-old woman wins $3 million and showed up to work on Monday to shit on her boss's desk.
That's just foreplay to some people.
So
Was this in Germany?
This is perfect. It's a courier.
Or Florida?
It's a courier company. I knew something was wrong because I came back from lunch and the door to my office was closed, said the manager. I slowly opened the door to discover the woman with her pants around her ankles, hunched over my desk like a hippopotamus cheetah dropping a massive poo. She shot her head towards me with locked eyes. I was frozen in shock and fear. I saw a huge mud monkey sliming out of her butt like Play-Doh. It was worth it, the woman said on arrest. On Friday, when she realized she hit the lotto, I knew this would be the first thing I would do. I hit up every Mexican food truck, saved all my dumps all weekend.
Oh, this woman is a legend. She's my new favorite person.
Pooed on her boss's desk.
That's the fact that she did the Mexican to save. That's amazing.
I hope she took laxatives too.
I would shake that woman's hand after
She's got a great mugshot. But what's even better is it was not Florida.
How many Keurigs deep was his shit?
I'm assuming it was very liquidy. Like it was probably soft serve like chocolate ice cream. Just
yeah, you don't
Nile
want to load
River,
up on
we'll
coffee
call it,
that'll
or
dehydrate
Lake
you,
Superior?
like clay.
It was New York.
It was a lock.
It was New York
of...
as where this happened. But yeah, I saw that and was like, you know what? I'm not mad.
That would only happen in the Northeast. Like, Southern people have that kind of like, there's some really shitty people in the South, obviously, and, the Midwest and Western. But that would only happen in the Northeast because only somebody in the Northeast would be like, what is the worst thing I could possibly, what's the worst way I could get, arrested? Like, what's the best way for retribution against my boss? I'll shit on their desk.
Short of giving their family dog AIDS, I don't know. Good revenge. Really fucked the family.
That's kind of fucked up.
That's sadistic.
Why?
I just think it's kind of a fucked up thing to do. Give the family dog AIDS.
Well,
they can survive from that now.
If my mail gets delivered to your apartment by accident, you tell me.
All right.
Yeah, but why the dog?
Because I take my mail very seriously.
You take your mail?
So you've done this before?
What?
So you've
standard
actually done
operating
this.
procedure.
Jesus, Jesse, you're fucked up.
Isn't so much that? Listen, if I hold the door for you and you don't say thank you, things happen.
Really? That's the line?
I don't appreciate rudeness.
I've always wanted a bola and a squirt gun to like shoot at people for cutting me in line. They'd be like squirting. They'd be like, "Is that like hot sauce or ketchup?" And they'd be like, "No, it's Ebola blood, straight from Sierra Leone." Oh fuck!
You're kidding me. What is wrong with the two of you?
Yeah, you shouldn't cut people in line. You're gonna get Ebola.
It's rude. I agree with it.
Anyway, I think we should address the elephant in the room. Sarge
I'm
is
a
not
Republican.
here. You are? I'm not shocked with the amount of
Well,
with
you
the amount
asked
of
what
racism that
the
comes out of
elephant
your
in the
mouth.
room was, and I was like, I'm a
Well,
Republican.
with the amount of racism that comes out of your mouth, I'm not shocked. So Sarge is not here, and neither is Maynard. And they, as you all know, they sometimes record together. And apparently, they were, I don't know, would you call
They're
it
stuck together like sweaty
Would you
Legos.
call it playing together? Maybe they were doing an activity together. One thing led to another, and Sarge has a fidget spinner in his anus right now. So when he gets here, we're gonna ask him about that experience. I think there might be a hospital trip. I'm not sure.
Ask him about sharp knives.
I'm trying to figure out how the fidget spinner got so close to his anus. It's not two areas that you would normally do that with, so...
Well, apparently his anus was fidgeting.
Well, right. I guess it must have been very, very uneasy. So, tonight's episode...
The odd thing is it's perpetually spinning in there. Doctors can't figure that
Well, he
out.
sent us photos, so...
What, more like gifts?
Yeah, well, it's a boomerang, I guess is what it's called. Or it just plays back and forth constantly. It's called boomerang. So that's what he did. So when he gets here, we'll talk to him about that. But tonight's episode, tonight's episode is about times where we.
That's the thing about closet homosexuality. It makes you do weird and painful things.
Because closets don't have a lot of room. I could not do one.
Like the back of a Volkswagen. So, so tonight's episode is about the times that we were the most scared by nothing. And I think Sarge probably is pretty scared that people will find out there's a fidget spinner in his anus. And we weren't supposed to tell you guys that, so.
Or that he has a real name.
Do we, I mean, he's not here. Do we do it? Do we just out him right now?
Alright, we'll give you a hint. His name is
Christians against globes. Pastor Sarge here to let you know I got a fidget spinner up my anus. God world is goddamn flat. Let me just tell you that there. Anyone who tells you it's a sphere is a sinner and a haven, and that's blasphemy. Why, the world is made mostly of water and grass. Hell, Magellan would have fell on planet Earth. And don't even talk about dinosaurs, because they were around same time as Indians. Hell, they got smallpox before the goddamn Indians died. The world's 6,000 years old. Join a club. Christians against globes. You know who I am? What I am? I'm Christian. For more information on this organization, visit www.christiansagainstglobes.com. Christians Against Globes is not endorsed by any scientists, rational, or sane people, aka bores.
This is former FBI Director James Comey letting you know there is a P video, and you will see it soon.
You cum-guzzling gutter sluts.
Welcome back to episode 44.
Fuck off or leave a message.
Welcome back.
Yeah, well, we recorded the first segment without you guys. Speaking of that, Sarge, how's your fidget spinner?
I'm loving it.
He's spinning it right now. Listen to that thing go.
This was invented specifically for people with ADHD.
Oh, it sounds like a sprinkler, and it should.
Did you guys hear about the guy who got one stuck in his beehole?
I did read that article.
We did.
How do you jam a fidget spinner up there? These things are big.
Lots of heroin. Lots of heroin.
So really spinning there.
So
Sarge.
happy. God, I hope you wiped that off.
Oh, come on.
God.
Oh, I can't wait to hear the first segment.
Yeah, I was going to say, I
Great.
can only imagine what went down in the first segment.
Maynard, do you have a fidget spinner too? Or is it just Sarge?
Don't engage them. Don't engage them.
Honestly, tonight was the first time I've ever seen one. So.
Have you used Sarge's yet?
Not yet.
You should give it a spin.
You haven't played with Sarge's spinner yet?
I think you should. I think,
no.
Based on the first half of the
that
podcast,
might be his
it sounds
child's
like your
fidget
computer's
spinner. I
getting
don't want to,
ruined.
I hope it's not his child's fidget spinner, or he should get a new one.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I can't wait for you guys to listen to the first half of the episode.
This has
Jeez.
ham-fist.
So-
This has ham-fisted joke written all over
I
it. It must
wonder
have been
what
Jordan's idea.
happened.
Actually, it was
Ironically enough, it sounds like you got ham-fisted.
yeah. Ironically,
That's a great Local H album, by the way.
if I'm being honest, you walked into it. I mean, you.
No,
really fed that.
no, Jordan. He backed into it.
He did. He backed right
Oh
into
my
it.
God. It was ham-fisted radio.
All right. So, as I said in the previous segment, in the opener, this is times where we were all irrationally scared by nothing, or just irrationally scared. So, let's take it away. Who wants to jump in first and give us the time that they were irrationally scared?
Jordan, why don't you go first?
All right, I'll go first. So, this was probably somewhere in the area of 22 years ago, 23 years ago. No,
Please be the Disney story.
I was. Oh, it
So
is.
you were
Oh, it is. I was
18.
8 or 9.
Oh god, it's the greatest story. This is the greatest story in history, guys. And I tell my kids this story now.
So I was like 8 or 9, and it was the first time that I'd ever been to Disney. And at Epcot, right, Sarge? Epcot?
No, I don't think it was Epcot. Oh, it might have been because it was at the Futureland, wherever Futureland is. I think it's a Magic Kingdom.
There was like this weird, like kind of cool 4D ride And the way that they explained it was like, oh, you're gonna see some aliens, like you're gonna go to like an alien adventure. I think that was the
this
name
wasn't
of it.
Epcot. This was Magic Kingdom, definitely.
I don't know.
Because it was in Tomorrowland.
Either way, my parents had no interest in going with us, so Sarge and I ventured off on our own. I would say Sarge was a robust 13 or 14 because
I was 14.
So I was 9.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister was there. She was, this is the reason Sarge and I went by ourselves. Anyway, so we go to this like 4D ride, and my parents are like, "Cool, have fun." And we're sitting in the chairs, and you have to like strap yourself into the chair,
of course,
because the ride moves. And so you're like, "Oh, that's a thing." I thought we were in a laboratory. And as you're sitting there, and the lights come up on the stage, there's an alien in a glass tube, and some guy comes out onto the stage, and immediately, like, those hairs that tingle on the back of your neck when something is definitely wrong, like your girlfriend misses her period. That's exactly what happened. And all of a sudden, I kind of just started to hyperventilate a little bit. And,
no, that's not what happened.
It was.
That is not what happened at all.
Because yes, it was. And so I'm sitting there and I'm going, this is not what I want to do. And I'm like, we gotta go. We gotta get out. And then the lights come up, and there's a guy on stage, and he's got this alien in a containment thing. And I'm like, this is not good. And my brother's sitting beside me laughing.
Yep.
And
hilarious, hysterically laughing at him.
And so the guy on the stage is talking about how they captured an alien, and he's in a safe containment center, and blah, blah, blah. And then the power goes out.
Oh, shit.
And the next thing you know, you hear like this glass break, and the lights come up and start to flicker on the stage, and the alien has gotten out. But you're now strapped into a chair, right? Don't forget. And it's 4D, so like, like at one point the alien is up on the crosswalk, and I'm freaking out, like inside my chair, freaking out. And again, now this is where it gets to the irrational point. It's fucking Disney. Nothing bad happens at Disney. And when something bad does happen at Disney, somebody's there to fix it immediately. Nothing bad happens at Disney. But in my head, at 8 years old, I'm watching this thing happen and freaking out.
Wasn't that thing modeled after the old Aliens movies, too?
It looked like one of the old Aliens creatures, which was fucking creepy, too. But regardless.
But what was hilarious is he's sitting next to me, and everyone else has got this big smile on their face, like, oh, wow, what amazing technology. When the alien's supposedly, like, right behind you, you feel like a mist on the back of your neck.
Right, well, you feel like a warm breath. And then the alien at one point is on the catwalk above you, and you feel shit drip onto you. Like globs of shit, like, drip onto your head. And so, again, now I'm freaking out again. Because, like, there's shit dripping onto me, and, like, oh, my God. It was...
Sounds like a bachelor party I went to.
Sounds like those testimonies of Jerry Sandusky. Oh, God. Sounds like testimonies of Jerry Sandusky's victims.
Oh, boy.
So... Just to be clear, guys, everyone around us is smiling and laughing and like, oh, wow, how great is this? Jordan is sitting next to me and has just been doing this steady metronome, over and over and over again, but like short little staccato yells. And people are laughing because it's fucking hilarious. Because it's like the campiest, like lamest animatronic thing ever.
To be fair, the alien looked super cool when you first sit down and all the lights are on. But once everything starts happening, and, again, 8 years old, freaking out, 9 years old, whatever I was, freaking out. It was, and again, I was at Disney, and it was all fucking robots and shit. But in my brain, for some reason, it was all real. I was going to get fucking destroyed by an alien. It was not cool to me.
Do you guys remember Napoleon Dynamite? When Uncle Rico is talking about Napoleon to that girl's mom, and he's like, he's a sensitive guy. That was Jordan at Disney at 9 years old.
Stop eating all our steaks.
Eat the food, Tina. But yeah, he was
Go get some ham.
I mean, I guess I'm thinking, like, if I was 9 years old, I probably might have freaked out too. But I don't know. That robot was really, really, like, lame.
I don't know. I remember back, and I thought that looked...
Well, you remember because you were 9,
right.
The reasonable belief is suspended because you're 9 years old.
But that was probably the single like scariest moment that I had where I look back on it and I was like, the fuck was I scared about? It was Disney. The
But there was,
scariest part of Disney is that it's a small world ride and potentially getting stuck on it.
Yep. But there was terror in your eyes, man. You were fucking terrified.
Yeah, yep. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all. But short, quick, to the point. I at 8-9 years old, whatever I was, pussied out at Disney and freaked out in a chair about an alien encounter.
Yep.
All
right, who's next?
The Spooky World. That shit freaked me out. Because it was the old Spooky World, not the new one. Like back when they would really be like fucking weird about it.
When they'd come at you with a chainsaw that didn't have the blade in it, but you didn't know that
Or they
shit.
would have people get up on stage and do karaoke, and if you sucked, they'd bring you over to a guillotine that would stop like an inch from your head when they actually pulled it.
Is that the one in Berlin, Mass?
That's terrifying.
That was way back.
Witches
when
Woods,
I
right?
think I was like 10 years old when I went to that one before they moved it to wherever they are now.
Nothing would be more terrifying than the German sex dungeon.
That sounds like a great time to me.
Shiza.
It's 50-50. Depends on the night.
August House of Pain. How can I help you? So, who's next? All right. Well, if we're not going to volunteer,
Just pick somebody.
I'm going to go with Jesse.
All right. So
Tell
this
us your story, darling.
I will. This irrational fear actually affected me till about last year. Because I, for most of my life, have been irrationally scared of flying. I took my first flight at age 28, and it was no big deal. It was a blast.
I got to be honest.
I remember.
I don't.
No one has a
I
blast
don't understand.
flying.
Well, some people do.
Well, I mean, if you drink enough.
I mean, imagine being a fully grown man, and then you're like, I'm above the clouds. This is amazing. I didn't have that feeling till I was an adult and fully old enough to appreciate
That's
it.
pretty.
My
That's
biggest
pretty
fear
good.
flying.
I'm with
is
you.
boredom.
I'm with you.
Jesse had his moment, like in the Neverending Story when that kid's riding the dragon.
Yeah,
He's like
exactly.
Atreyu.
Oh,
Yeah.
Atreyu!
Yes, right.
Atreyu! And then like the plane was like, but it was Spirit Airlines, so they ran out of booze.
So what were you afraid of on the
They
plane?
only carry
Like-
3 beers per flight. So.
No, I'll explain. Oh yeah, well they didn't limit how many Ativan I took before I got on. I was like, this is amazing, and then lost consciousness immediately because I was like I overcompensated for how anxious I would be.
Jesse's
You know
the
what,
guy.
I was-
as soon as
when
we
I
were
was
there,
on,
I was like,
mixes-
oh, this isn't as bad as I thought it was.
Jesse's the guy who mixes the painkillers with the alcohol and gets on the intercom. There's something on the wing. It's a gremlin. I swear. There's a gremlin
It's a
on
man.
the wing. Yeah.
No, sir. I mixed a benzo with alcohol, which just equals sleep.
when I
Oh,
had to
sleeping
fly
pills and wine.
when I had to fly to and from Iraq, it's 20 hours on a plane. It's 8 hours to Europe, and then from Europe it's another 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours
Hey,
depending.
did you guys know that Sarge's in
Down.
the army?
Well, it is my name. So anyway, long story short,
that's
the
what
reason
that
I'm bringing it up is because this grizzled old veteran, I was talking to him and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to sit on a plane for that long. And he's like, oh man. He's like, I got you covered. He pulls out a bottle of ibuprofen PM. And he's like, this is a chemical time machine, kid. So I took one when we got on the plane and I woke up in Germany. It was a fucking miracle. So then I took
That's what
another
Ativan
one,
is.
and I
It's time
woke up
travel in a bottle.
exactly. And then I took another one, and I woke up in a war zone. It was just like the movie Time Machine.
Are those over the counter?
Oh yeah, and they're fucking amazing, man.
Oh.
It was
Why
like
do heroin then?
it was the greatest thing ever. 20 hours
Why do heroin?
went by like that.
Shopping list item noted.
Yeah,
But-
ibuprofen PM, buddy.
The actual
hibernation.
reason I am afraid of flying is because at age 5, I watched a movie that fucked me up forever.
La Bamba?
I was about 4 or 5. What? I missed it.
He said La Bamba.
La Bamba.
The day the music died.
La
I was
Bamba
about
ruined
5
that
years
song.
old.
The Bamba ruined that song Sleepwalker for the rest of my
sorry,
life.
I
You know, like
didn't-
the slow, like meandering guitar because
Yes.
you watched a plane fucking blow up in the sky, ruined it.
Just like Goodbye Horses. Can't listen to that and not be creeped out.
That's actually Jordan's ringtone every time he calls me. I'm not
Right.
lying. Jordan,
Oh.
call me now. I'll play it for the team.
That is quite incestuous.
No, it isn't. He'd fuck me, not I'd fuck me. I wouldn't fuck him.
Oh no.
Poor Jesse. His story's just getting. Well, let him talk.
But anyways, the reason at age 5, my cousin convinced me to watch a movie. I knew right away that I wasn't supposed to watch it because I looked at the VHS copy and I was like, this is rated R. And my cousin was like, that's a lie because, shut the fuck up, kid, and let's watch the rated R movie. The movie was Alive. Yeah, if you don't know about the movie Alive, it is based on a true story. It's starring Keanu Reeves, and it's about a soccer team that crashes in the Alps in a horrifying plane crash.
Wait, Keanu Reeves was in that movie? Are you
He's
sure?
not in that movie.
Is Keanu Reeves not in that movie?
No.
He's not in that
I
movie.
always
You know
thought
you
Keanu
fucked up
Reeves-
when Maynard says you're wrong.
Ethan Hawke was in the movie.
Well, okay. Oh, it was Ethan
Yes.
Hawke. All right, he was the
Yes.
90s Keanu Reeves. Never mind. So Ethan Hawke was in the movie.
It's about a rugby team, right?
The Matrix
Yeah,
came out
it's
in
a true story
1999.
too.
Isn't-
A rugby
isn't
team that crashed in the Alps.
Keanu
and-
Reeves, the 90s Keanu Reeves.
That's what I'm saying.
There was Bill and Ted, and then there was Speed. And
Sorry,
Speed 2.
Ethan Hawke,
The Matrix,
early
ever see that?
90s.
What was that movie where he was a surfer cop?
Point
Point
Break?
Break.
Point Break.
Yes, Point Break.
That was late
that-
80s.
Why does everybody forget Chain Reaction? That was a great movie.
So
He was also in Much Ado About Nothing,
using
Shakespearean
Ethan
movie,
Hawke as
where
the
he
90s
did the
Keanu Reeves
Shakespearean
doesn't work.
dialogue.
All right, fair. So
Yeah,
it
Ethan
was
Hawke.
just
Ethan
it was
Hawke was
just
in
Ethan
90s
Hawke.
River Phoenix.
He's not the 90s anyway. He's just Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke was in
and
the movie.
And it had that guy that looked like I can't remember his name now. Surprise. You look like Trent Reznor.
Great. It was
You know
an
the
awesome
90s were
addition.
bad when Ethan Hawke was a sex symbol.
Yeah.
Guy looks like a fucking troll.
But yeah, the plane crash in that movie is horrifying. It
It is.
starts with because it's a class and they're all hanging out and just like screwing around, and the teacher stands up and is like, "All right, guys, stop screwing around," and then the back of the plane
No, it's
comes
not a-
off.
it's not a class,
with
you-
no warning.
It's not a
The
class,
tail
you
gets
clown
ripped
shoe.
off
It's a
and the
fucking
teacher
rugby
gets sucked.
team.
Thank you. You are really helpful when it comes to stories.
I don't know. Ethan Hawke is a bit of a fidget spinner.
But immediately when the plane
What's that
crashes,
tickle my
all right.
anus? Oh, Ethan.
Jesse can't get a word
He's
in
like a
edgewise.
hawk.
This fucking podcast.
Oh, it's so beautiful when it's not me.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jesse.
But no, the 90s had no CG, so it was all realistic where they just built a puppet that
Yeah.
looked like a person and then stabbed it with whatever needed to be stabbed. So it was the most graphic plane crash. It starts with a teacher getting sucked out of the tail and smacking into the side of a mountain. And then
You
by
mean-
the
you
time
mean
they
the coach?
crash, yeah, the coach, he's yelling at everyone because they're throwing a football around. He's like, "Everybody calm down." And then the back of the plane disappears and he gets sucked out. There's no like, we're gonna crash moment. It just happens. Like I assume
It's
a
a
real
great-
plane crash would.
I
It
feel
was
like that
just
would be
great.
scarier.
Movie.
You know what I mean? Like if you're watching a movie about a plane crash, and you just watch the plane get ripped in half. That's a lot scarier than like everybody starts getting worried. They hit turbulence, and then the plane starts going down. I'd be a lot more fucking scared of the plane just rupturing and everybody flying out of
And
it.
that's
You know what I mean?
that's what happens. There's no
Yeah.
real like, oh no, we're going down. It's just like the guy's like, "Hey guys, calm down," and then the tail comes off and everyone starts dying.
At least
You're
that's
like,
a bit
"Holy
more
shit."
definitive.
Yeah, that was a true story, right?
Yes, because
Yeah.
not only do they crash in the Alps, but there's not enough food to survive, so they then have to eat the dead.
You're telling the most Maynard version of this story ever.
Yeah, but
Am
that's
I?
it's
It's a
completely
soccer
true.
team. It was a soccer team that crashed in the Andes in South America,
Rugby team.
or a rugby team.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it was in South America in the Andes.
He
I
was
don't know
5
where
when he
it really
watched it. Cut him
happened.
some slack.
I was 5.
Oh, you were 5?
All I know, yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with the people who are like, "Hey, watch this awesome movie about everyone dying"?
Well, I explained it in the beginning. My cousin wanted to watch the movie.
I know, but
I
that's
said it was
still-
rated R. I couldn't watch it.
That's
He's like, "That's
still
a PG
fucked up.
movie."
That's still fucked up.
I
Yeah, a
watched that when I
lifetime
was
of
a
fearing
teenager and I was
flying.
fucked up.
You know what though? When in the 80s, like I went to I was in elementary school and I went to my friend's birthday party. It was a sleepover, and his older brother put on the Nightmare on Elm Street films, and we watched like I think it was 1 through 3. And I remember
But
thinking
what
to
if-
myself like, "Oh man, this movie's great." Until like everyone died, and then I was like, "I don't want to sleep ever." And I just
one
sat
of
up
the
eating
major
pizza.
plot lines in Alive is that there's this guy and his wife who crashed, and you're rooting for him, and his wife gets sick, and you're like, oh no, I hope they get rescued in time. No, she fucking dies, and before she does, she's like, you can eat me if you want, and he does.
Sweet.
I was 5.
Cannibalism.
That's why it took me till 28 to get on a plane.
Did they have any condiments?
That's a day one.
The worst part was that they all they ate all their asses. Like that was the first. I'm dead serious.
Yo, yeah, they went to the ass first.
Jesse,
It was the
back me
meatiest
up.
and less person part.
Back me
Yeah.
up. That was like
That's
the
a
first.
salty-
It is.
area.
That is the first thing that they ate.
That was like the first thing. They're like, well, we got to go for the biggest part with the biggest chunk.
Oh, there was that
That's what they did.
horrifying part where they're like, since they'd crashed in the mountains, they're like, all right, we're gonna have to walk and see if we can see a town or something. And they don't realize they're on a cliff, and the guy in the front just falls through the ice and disappears. Like he just was over like a snow cliff and went right through and just falls to his doom, just disappears. I was like, oh, even snow's terrifying.
Jesse hasn't shoveled yet. To this
That would
day,
be-
he has never picked up a shovel.
But
would
it was the
be
plane
a
crash that
brutal movie.
fucked me up because it was like the suddenness of it, the guy getting sucked out, and then when it crashed, like everyone who got crushed by seats or impaled by like shrapnel, I was like, oh, everything sucks in a plane crash, which it does.
Yeah, I feel like it's rare though. I mean, you're probably just gonna die. Like everyone's just gonna die.
That's the thing. But then like the fact that they lived, you see how you would have died, and you're like, oh, none of that's comfortable or quick.
Nope.
So yeah,
Maynard, you're
There's
up
mine.
next.
Oh man, how am I supposed to follow that up
With facts.
with facts?
Because Jesse derailed the whole Alive movie.
No, well, to be fair, we kind of just kept talking during his story, so mine's more of a kind of a long-standing fear. If that's okay, does it still fit the bill? This isn't like a one-time incident.
Yeah, sure.
This is more of a. I'm definitely claustrophobic in some ways. So there's.
Oh, I am too, man.
So there's certain items in life where you get on an elevator or you ride the red
Green
line.
light.
Hey Matt, can you back out real quick and then come back in? Because you're a robot-y.
I could just
00111.
That's not me, right?
No, that
Oh,
was.
okay.
I think
that
he
was-
just
Okay,
he
that
just
wasn't
sound
right.
like
he
that
just
for the rest
robots
of the
out because
episode.
his internet sucks or something.
Oh, okay. So basically, claustrophobia would, going on an elevator, riding the red line.
Elevators, really?
Yeah. Well, what if you get stuck?
How do you
What if
feel about the
it's-
back of a Volkswagen?
What if it stops? Never been in one.
Oh, there you go.
Bunk beds scare me.
Let me guess.
get
Was the
claustrophobic
Volkswagen
in that.
part of the first segment?
No, actually, the back of a Volkswagen is where Ben Affleck likes to have sex with women in the movie Mallrats. So,
Yes, I was well aware of that, but
I mean,
didn't know.
it just was just.
Like, the most uncomfortable place you can think of, right?
Yeah,
Right,
which
exactly.
which is also why you guys brought up the fidget spinners, because there's probably some anal sex joke made at my expense.
Yeah, now we're all paranoid about that was in the first segment. Anyway.
Heck,
It's
Like
not,
a
it's
propeller
not, it's
buried
not
in a chocolate cake.
It's not necessarily like the being in the tight space that bothers me. It's what if you have to take a shit?
That's so great.
Because
If
you're
you-
stuck there, you're just gonna smell
Right.
your own poo.
You get stuck for 45 minutes between North Quincy and Andrew Square. What are you doing? You're in trouble.
Oh my
You're
god!
in
I've never,
deep-
You're
I've never
fucked.
thought about actually what would happen if I had to poop.
On a train, like you're stuck on a train, you got to poo. What do you
At
do?
least if you're on the commuter rail.
Do you bust out the window and just just
What do
make
you
a
do?
mad
Do you
dash
kick
for
it?
it? What if
No,
you're
what if
stuck
you're-
on that bridge over the water?
I figure if you
They're
can get
bust
the
out
door
windows.
open and you're between floors, you aim for the space in between like the floor and the elevator.
Right,
Wait,
so
I
it
think we're
goes down
also
to the base
forgetting
of the
what are you
elevator.
wiping with?
Right. What if you hop on an elevator
Don't
with
we all wear beaters?
15 people? Everybody's like, oh, you can
You guys
fit
aren't
one
trying
more.
hard enough.
You can fit-
Wait, did you hear about that guy who was stuck in an elevator for a weekend?
That's just what I'm
Yeah,
getting
you got
at.
stuck
You
on
don't
a Friday.
know.
There was no one in the office.
There
till
was a guy
Monday.
who was stuck in an elevator for an entire weekend. They had cameras in the elevator And it's fucking disturbing.
They had cameras and they couldn't help the guy.
They
How
didn't know
long do
he
you
was
think
in
he
there.
waited before he masturbated?
They had
I'm
no
saying
idea he was
Sunday
in there.
afternoon.
Because it was
I'm
like the
going
end
Sunday
of the day.
afternoon is the longest he waited before he beat off.
It was it was the end of the day. Everybody had left for the day.
Did he not have a phone?
He got in the elevator, and I don't know. Yeah, this is like 1997.
what year
Nobody
was
had a
this?
cell phone. It was like 1997, I think.
He opened the little like phone compartment of the elevator, and there was nothing in there.
Yeah, it was just like gum wrappers. But I think he wound up.
There was a bat.
He wound up getting PTSD from it and suing the company.
I would too.
And
That's like my worst
getting
nightmare.
a settlement, but it was like, it was a 15-year process for him to finally get that settlement and get paid out for being trapped in a fucking elevator
where were
for
you
3
in
days.
1997?
The plus side
boy.
is, since he's afraid of elevators, he's in great shape from taking all them stairs. It's the best case of PTSD I've gotten.
I'm not necessarily afraid of elevators, but every time I enter an elevator, that thought enters my mind. What if this thing doesn't open for 3 hours?
You might not want to see elevator accidents on YouTube of people getting crushed.
Oh man!
Is
Like when
the
people
most
get their
disgusting
heads,
thing
their
ever.
heads taken off.
So funny story.
Especially in China, because in China they have no regulations
say
on their
Indochina?
elevators, and they're all like super
Did he just say
modern.
Indochina?
and they go
Indo-
super-
China.
Are we really going to leave this? He said in the China.
In the China.
Anyway,
I said
no,
in
you said
China.
Anyway, so funny story.
Which is
In
how he
the
described
vagina.
sex with an Asian girl the first time, and I felt it was offensive.
In the China.
You guys did miss in the first segment. Matt came out as a Republican, so there's that.
Well, you did say there is an elephant in the room, and I figured I had to answer.
So,
And nobody made an off-color Jordan joke.
nope. So,
I just did. I'm sorry.
anyway, when I was working at CVS, I don't know if you remember this guy, Jesse, but we had a guy who would come to the photo lab, and he was an insurance adjuster. And he used to bring us the most gruesome shit.
Oh no!
Didn't he make one of the photo lab people go home
Yes.
crying?
And so there was one night where he brought in an elevator accident, and a guy was working on an elevator, and it came down and decapitated him.
Oh.
And so, he's got pictures of all this stuff. And he's like, and like he always used to give us the heads up and be like, you guys, just so you know, this is going to be pretty gruesome. And we used to have to develop like the most terrible pictures ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
No,
a,
when
that's like
you
a
develop
cause
pictures-
of PTSD right there.
Yeah, when you develop pictures, did you have to look at every single one?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. No, you have to look at
It was so fun to see the ones that people wouldn't come get. Oh, there were many a bachelor party where you were like, oh yeah, you're not going to come get these.
Do you remember the guy who was?
I'd always get them.
Do you remember the guy who we had to call
No
the
one's
police on
surprised.
because it was child porn? He claims
No, I didn't
he
remember
claims
that
she
one.
was 19. So, we developed the pictures, and it was like super questionable, like right on the line. And we were like, you know what? We called the store manager, and he's like,
What was upsetting was the picture of him buying Girl Scout cookies from her.
Jesus. So
They set up those stands at
so
the
the
walls of
store
tea station.
manager shows up, and he's like, you know what? Call the police. Let them handle it. Let them clear out the whole situation. Better safe than sorry. So we called the police, and we had to call this guy and be like, hey, your pictures are ready. So he shows up, and the police are there, and we basically had to tell the police, okay, it's this guy. So he shows up to pick up his pictures, and the police come up from behind him, and they're like, sir, you need to come with us. And he starts to make this whole big stink, and eventually he just starts screaming, I swear to God, she's 19! She's 19! And the police officer goes, yeah, well, she can come to the police station with an ID that says that. And that was him being fucking dragged
Great
out of the
one-liner.
store for child porn. So,
Wonderful.
yeah, that was, we never heard what happened, so
Great.
I'm assuming he's on the sex offender
The second thing he yelled was, she was wearing the Dora the Explorer backpack, ironically.
You're a fucking terrible person.
You are.
No, the guy who legitimately did child porn is the terrible person. Me making fun of him. No.
All right. Well, so anyway,
Serenity, no.
Maynard.
Yes.
So anything else make you irrationally scared? Was that it? Didn't
No,
wanna cut
I,
the rest of your story there.
I think it's really just
Pooping in-
anytime you're entering a tight space that
Yeah, okay, that's a good fidget spinner joke.
well, maybe not all tight spaces.
mean, I always enjoy a good.
But ones that you can't get out of without a bathroom.
All right.
You interpret that however you'd like.
All right. Let's go with Matt.
Matt, I am never in my life am I ever going to drink with you.
That's you've
It's
already
like
broken
you're a
that
fucking
rule
cop
quite
magnet.
a bit. You've broken that rule.
Twice. I've broken that rule twice, so I wouldn't say quite a bit. But
No.
Matt, you're a cop magnet.
I
dude.
would say that we've broken that rule. There was my birthday, 21. There was New Year's. There was my bachelor party. There was my wedding.
In my defense, I was drunk at the time.
I still have the Jordan's Bachelor T-shirt.
Yeah.
We did not survive that
No, we did
weekend.
not.
That makes one of us.
Yep, that does make exactly one of us.
That T-shirt was very thoughtful, but it was an omen.
Oh yeah. No, it was-
Well, it was only an omen because Tom almost severed an artery with an axe.
I'm still shocked that he missed.
Your brother-in-law got a 3rd-degree burn.
He really did.
I want to say my favorite part of the whole Tom with the axe thing is that everyone looked at me like I had some kind of experience with these things.
I think
they're like, take him to the hospital, and I'm like, why? Is Al Qaeda there? Like, what am I supposed to fucking do?
I don't know. It was responsibility. You were.
My job is to make bigger holes, not
you were
smaller ones.
responsible. That's.
I am not a responsible man. I have a room full of Legos that I live in.
Well, I mean,
That's not how I remember it. By the way, I remember you scooping me up and then throwing me into the backseat of a car and driving me to the
Matt's
hospital.
got this. It's no problem. And Jordan's like, you have to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I
hold
don't.
on.
I
All
really
right.
don't.
All right. Now, if we're going to talk about this very quickly, Sarge comes over because Tom buries the axe into his knee.
He didn't bury it.
There was like a
just the end
3-inch
of it.
cut in his knee.
It was a big cut. I still have a picture of it on my phone.
It was a knee vagina.
You could see the fat
It almost hit the
underneath the
clit
skin.
of his
Everybody stop.
knee cap.
Picture this, if you will.
I kind of wanted
We're
to fuck
in
it.
the woods.
It was so small, like an
Well,
Asian pussy.
Oh, there it is. So, we're in the woods. It had been raining for like 48 hours straight.
That's not racist if you're complimenting a race.
So, Tom is kneeling next to the wood he's trying to cut for a fire. And he just happens to come down at the wrong angle, and he skips the axe that was just freshly sharpened off of the wood and into his knee. And Tom, still drunk from the night before, sits down, legs straight out right like he's doing the President's Challenge in middle school, pulls his leg up and sticks his gross, muddy finger directly into the wound. And he goes, and he looks at me and he goes,
"Listen,
I think I need to go to the hospital." And then, hold on.
Let me tell you about an irrational fear I have of
irrational
axes.
my ass. So Sarge runs over. First responder, like, and then looks at it and goes, "What the fuck happened?" And our friend Frank, good friend of the show, got us the Cannons tickets last that trip. Frank goes, "Did you just put my axe into your knee?" He goes, "Now I've got fucking Tom DNA on it." Not even questioning the fact that Tom's knee has got an open wound. It was really like pouring out of Tom's leg. So Sarge helps Tom to the back seat of our friend's wife's car at the time. It wasn't even. It was.
Did I wrap it up?
It wasn't
I think
even
I
his
wrapped
car.
It,
It was his friend. It was his wife's car, and so Tom's bleeding on the back seat.
No, he wasn't bleeding.
And
I wrapped it up.
Matt looks at us and goes, "Well, I'll go with John." And there was just no way I was letting that happen, because I could just picture our friend John, and you can picture Matt going to a hospital. And so I forced Sarge to go because I needed somebody there responsible enough and mostly sober to be able to explain what happened. That's
I
how
haven't been
that
to the
went.
hospital since I was
To
5 years old.
To this day, if I have to
That's
cut wood, I
better
use a
if you miss-
chainsaw.
Yeah, I like how you're
safer.
like, this is safer. This is safer. This rotating blade is way safer than an axe that I hold with a hand.
I'm
with
glad
one
Tom
hand.
came off of the wizard.
Exactly.
My favorite
Good
thing
old
is
Well,
at your
four
wedding.
I know. I feel like I broke a
Tom
wall.
broke the
and
fourth wall.
My
I'm gonna
favorite thing is
disappear
at your
again.
wedding, we had to take all of his silverware
Yeah.
away.
There's a bitch eating that steak.
Where the fuck is a steak knife?
Actually, to this day, my father won't let Tom live it down. My father still calls out Tom every time there's somebody around. He goes, "Make sure Tom doesn't have anything sharp."
Yeah, none of you bastards will. Every time I see any of you.
True, actually. I think we said something at the Cannons game.
Probably.
Yes, you did.
Anyway, all right, Sarge, you're up.
All right. So, a lot of people have this fear, and so it's going to sound like I'm copping out, but I react poorly to these situations. I was going to cut some wood for a shelf, and I couldn't find...
Did you bury an axe into your knee? Tom, we were just talking about cutting wood.
So I was going to find my my saw. I was trying to find my skill saw. So I'm like looking around, I can't fucking find it anywhere. And then finally, I see the cord sticking out from underneath a counter in my basement. And so I reach in and I pull out the saw, and it's got like a bunch of other shit like tangled in the cord. So a bunch of stuff comes out. And following all that stuff was a giant black spider. Like the size of my fucking foot. It wasn't that big, but that's what it felt like. And it was fast. It was like fucking, the little alien that scurries up and like jumps in. Yeah. It was fucking fast. And it came out and then it stopped. And me and this motherfucking spider looked at each other for probably about 15 minutes as I stood there trying to figure out how I could kill it without first turning my back on it to get a weapon.
Eyes, did you hear a careless whisper?
I mean, a little, but it just happens anytime I lock eyes with anyone.
I don't think I was living next door at the time.
So I have a problem with spiders. Me and spiders, we don't like each other. We try not to cross paths.
It never used to be that way either.
People always say like, oh, spiders are more scared of you than you are of them. No, I can categorically say I am more scared of a spider than it is of me. So anyway, this fucking spider, I backed away like the coward that I am, and I found some Raid. And so I took the Raid and I sprayed it. And I emptied most of the can on the spider. The whole basement was filled with the smell of dying ants. And I just sprayed it and sprayed it and sprayed it. And it was just like twitching and fucking foaming up. And then it stopped moving. But I've watched enough horror movies to know that that is not an indicator of death. So I grabbed an orange bucket. And I used a piece of cardboard. And I flicked the spider into the orange bucket. And then I threw the piece of cardboard in the orange bucket because that piece of cardboard's fucking dead to me too. And I go out into my backyard and I dump the spider out and the piece of cardboard. And then I grab some lighter fluid. Even though the spider was definitely dead, I grabbed some lighter fluid and I sprayed the spider and the cardboard with it. And then I lit the whole thing on fire. And I stood there and watched it burn all the way down. Then I took a brick and I put it on top of the dead spider. That's how much of a fucking pussy I am when it comes to spiders.
If I can
Terrifying.
just interject.
Terrifying.
I'm going to go back to when we were kids. You never used to be like that. I once walked into my backyard one day, and Sarge is sitting there with a glass jar, and it's got a spider in it, and this really intricate web that, it must have taken the spider forever to build. And
Dennis was a cool fucking spider.
Had actually pulled the wings off of a wasp and stuck the wasp into the net of the spider, the web, and was watching the spider spin the wasp in a cocoon to kill it.
Well, I was never smart enough to build a robot, so this was my battle box.
He used to find ants, and he used to pit them against each other.
I liked Dennis the spider. I wanted to feed him shit. So let me tell you where the fear comes from.
So then, I'm going to fast forward just another couple of years, and we were at a camp in the woods where spiders would make these awesome webs in the corners of the tent that we were in. And I have never liked spiders. And Sarge would be the one who'd pick up the daddy long legs, and daddy long legs are harmless to us. and they'd be like, "Oh, dude, it's nothing," and throw it away, and that was it. So this fear of spiders is a recent phenomenon.
And let me tell you why. So, I went to basic training in Missouri, and just so you guys know, if you ever were curious where all the bad things in America are,
in Missouri,
most of them are in Missouri.
I hear St. Louis is a very dangerous place.
So, yeah. So, in my basic training was at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, Fort Lost in the Woods. It's hell, conveniently located in the middle of the Blair Witch Forest. So, when we get down there, they go through this big class to orient you to the area and tell you, what to expect, and they start warning you about all the things that are there that can kill you. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Missouri, but they have these kinds of flies that are about the size of an Irishman's penis, so not huge, but big enough. And they would fly around, and when they would land on you, they'd bite you. It was like Land
big
of the
enough
Lost.
To fuck your woman.
Yeah, all the insects were just bigger than they needed to be. So these fucking flies would land on you, and then they would sting like a motherfucker for no reason, just to be a dick, And they don't die when they sting you. So but they also had brown recluse spiders, and so I wasn't really scared of spiders. I would just stomp on them to kill them because they're not pleasant creatures, but they're not terrible. And so anyway, they told us that the brown recluse spider, they explained what it would do to you. So if you get bitten by one, you get necrosis around the bite area, where the skin around the bite would literally fucking die. Okay. And that didn't scare me because I didn't see it yet. It's kind of like with Jesse, plane crashes probably didn't scare him until he saw it on a TV show.
9/11.
Okay. You were just waiting for a spot to throw in 9/11.
Planes, and that's terrifying.
You were just waiting for it.
You have to say that louder.
Bush did it.
So, Jesus Christ. So anyway, one of my buddies gets bitten by a brown recluse spider. And a day later, the whole area around the spider bite turned black.
Oh.
Now the problem is, none of us saw this fucking spider because it bit him in his sleep.
Oh no.
So I went from being a man who was not afraid of spiders but would kill them at random because I hated them. Didn't hate them, but I didn't like them, because they're ugly and scary. To being a bitch. Like a little bitch. Not even just like a, oh god, that's scary. It went to petrified, solid fear of spiders. Because this kid's leg had a quarter-sized black hole on it, basically. And I'm sure it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was, but then he wound up getting, what's that infection people get in hospitals? Not AIDS, the other one?
Oh, staph.
No. Staph infection, yeah. It went from a staph infection to a worse kind, MRSA.
Oh, God.
MRSA, yes. It's terrible.
So his not Black Widow, his fucking brown recluse bite went from that to MRSA.
As interesting as this story is...
Do not go to Missouri.
Yeah, don't go to fucking Missouri because then you'll be scared of spiders
I need to give
and
you a
flies.
headline. So
and cicada
you bringing
killers.
this up, being in Fort Leonard Wood, and saying that Missouri's terrible because it is. It triggered a memory that I had of an article that I read where thousands...
I thought you were going to say the Catholic Church, to be honest.
Thousands of venomous spiders forced family from upscale Missouri home. And it turns out that this couple had bought a $450,000 home overlooking a golf course in a very upscale area. And it was built, apparently, with a brown recluse nest in the wood.
Oh. Just burn the house down. Burn it the whole thing down.
They ended up suing the people who sold them the house, I guess, for not disclosing the brown recluse problem. And they won What is it? They won a bunch of money off of the former owners, and they never got anything from it because the people declared bankruptcy. But apparently, the home is now owned by the Federal National Mortgage Association. It was covered with 9 tarps, and workers filled it with gas to kill the spiders and their eggs. And this all took place in fucking Weldon Springs, Missouri.
Spiders.
See, I fucking told you, Missouri, never go there. All right, so hold on. So I had an irrational fear of spiders after basic training. Then I went to Iraq.
Okay.
So there's a bug in Iraq called a camel spider. It's not actually a spider. It's part of the scorpion family. And I'd like to believe that if Satan had a baseball team, they would be known as the camel spiders. So I hadn't seen one my entire deployment, but I was irrationally afraid of them nonetheless. Irrationally afraid so much that I used to flip my boots upside down in the morning and slam them together and then shine a flashlight in them to make sure nothing had crawled in there. And I'm pretty sure they don't do that anyway, but I wanted to check. So anyway, I got moved from one base to another, and at this other base, there were camel spiders everywhere. And so one day we were, I should say one night, it was really late at night, we're on the flight line and we're doing an inspection of this like air freight company that had a bunch of like Filipino guys that work for it. These guys grew up in the jungle. They told us about it, and they were not fucking scared of anything. This dude takes off his flip-flop and scoops 2 camel spiders into a Gatorade bottle, and then seals the Gatorade bottle and puts it down on a table in front of me. And you know how, like, when you put a bug in a closed space, it tries to escape? These 2 motherfuckers started fighting each other. I'm like, why not work together and try to get out? And when I say fighting each other, I don't mean like they were like, you know, crawling over each other trying to get out. I was watching the Gatorade bottle roll from one end of the desk to the other as the spiders were literally fighting the entire way through until one killed the other one. So, as a joke, we brought the camel... I didn't fucking touch the thing. My teammate brought the camel spider back to my team leader, who was terrified of him too. And when he opened the lid of the bottle to show her, the smell smelled like... You know, like when you go on a really long walk or hike in 90-degree weather, and then you pee, and your undercarriage smells like wet socks and death? This somehow fucking smelled worse than that. Camel spiders smell like ass. So anyway, long story short, that was scary, but this is where it gets really scary.
More.
We were driving down the flight line, and we were doing another inspection a couple weeks later. And we see a camel spider in the road, and I realized I'd never taken a picture of one, and I really wanted a picture of it to, like, show my family. Be like, oh, check out this fucking horrible, hellish beast that they based horror movies on. So I get out of the truck with my camera, and the headlights are on the camel spider, so the camel spider kind of, like, froze for a second. And I walked up to take a picture of it. And you know how the predator's mouth has those 4 teeth that open wide up? You know what I'm talking about? The movie Predator?
You one ugly motherfucker.
Right. So I get over there to take a picture, and this motherfucker turns, his legs go up in the air, and his mouth opens. And he's small. He's real small. Like, the pictures that you can see online where they're fucking huge, I didn't see any that big. This thing was maybe an inch long. I had a loaded gun on me, and I ran like a little bitch back to my truck, climbed in the truck, slammed the door. And there, the camel spider had in the time that I had gotten back into the truck as a grown man, the camel spider had not only made it back to the truck as well, but was outside my door waving his fucking front legs at me. So, I don't like bugs, but I especially don't like spiders. And I will burn every single one that I find. Because they terrify me that much.
I feel the same way about rats. Rats scare the fuck out of me because
don't like rats either. They smell terrible.
They just and also too, rats are like really intelligent, and they will literally find any crevice or any way into a home. And if there's like a bunch of them, they don't really have too much fear of you. Like you'll go up and it'll just look at you and it'll be like, "I'm ready to attack you." They're fearless in that sense.
Does anyone really like rats though?
People have pet rats. That's fucking nasty.
You know what the thing that's fucked up about rats too is they always get tumors.
Yeah, they don't
die
live
from
long.
them. They just get like benign tumors on their body, so they
But
look
have
like a
fucking
fucking
100
potato.
children.
But like the pet, the pet rats, they're not like picked from the sewers, like you know.
They're still rats, though.
No,
they still have
understand.
the teeth, the ugly tail.
I have lizards, and I would not have a rat.
All right.
and they climb up fucking toilets. I mean,
which one of you
if
cunts
you
sent me this
do
fucking
not-
spider picture?
let me give you a warning. Do not use a toilet in Alston. Do not use a toilet in Alston. Just piss in the alleyway. Actually, don't piss in the alleyway. Don't pee in Alston. Hold it in. Maybe wear a diaper if you go to Alston.
That was our irrational fears.
Alston, Rock City.
Sarge and I were
We
there a
hope
couple
that
weeks
you
ago.
enjoyed them.
Yeah, we were.
The stories of our irrational fears. If you have
Eat your asshole.
any irrational fears that you'd like to share, please feel free. You can do it for in 140 characters or less. That's even better. And send it to @musingpodcast. I am @MuseKnuckles. Sarge is @BastardProphet. Maynard is @Maynard with a Y and an H.
You're at NPR.
Jesse is @TheJesseMiles, and Matt is @Necrotic Taste. You can go to our website and read Cumtrails and Area 69. Both excerpts from my erotic fan fiction.
Who knows? We might drop some more erotic fan fiction later on
And
this weekend.
you'll also be able to listen to the bonus reading of Area 69, just like Sarge has
Great
Cumtrails as his bonus reading already up there. And
More like boner
that's
reading,
it
am I right?
for us and episode 44.
Boom.
Jesse, your turn now.
I think he fell asleep.
You're welcome, and we're sorry.